Welcome to A Breath of Fresh Career. This is season 2, episode 16. I am joined here by J Granfield. Jeff is the head of talent acquisition in the Americas at Contentsquare. This fucking guy is the most colorful guy you're ever going to meet. All right. Super hard charging, but a gentle giant at the same time. Jeff, welcome to A Breath of Fresh Career.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Absolutely,
I appreciate
man.
it.
I can't wait to
get
this one on. I couldn't wait to get this one on the books and out here. This is awesome.
You give me a lot of credit on that intro.
I'm not even done yet. Let me get into the rest of it. So super hard charging, gentle giant, the whole deal. The biggest thing I got to tell you about Jeff is that you're a change agent, right? It's, dude, you're in talent acquisition. These people have been doing things one way forever. And that way forever doesn't work today in this super duper competitive market. And he's a change agent. And this guy played college football at Coastal Carolina University. He's a father of 2 beautiful kids, great kids. I've spoken to his son Jameson in the car once in a while. Great little dude. Husband, and perhaps most importantly, a hockey dad, which we'll talk a little bit about too. But aside from all this, man, this guy got the most, I don't know if you could see it on Zoom, the YouTube focus, but he's got the most amazing set of baby blue eyes in the nation. So we're going to talk about talent acquisition. We're going to talk about Turkish get-ups and kettlebell workouts. We're going to talk about youth hockey, your kids team, nutty coaches, parents, the whole deal. So have you started youth hockey up there yet?
Yeah, we started on August 31st. He skated all summer, so he's 7, so he's a mite. You've had some just recent experience with some mites, right? It's funny. Yes, we started on August 31st. I didn't realize how fast the season comes on, though, right? So the 31st is early. He's on the ice 4 times a week. Can barely pay attention for more than 30 seconds out there.
I refer to it as sweeping marbles.
Oh my God.
Dude, it's been a long time. And I love the little kids. I love it. I love them. They're so how do they have this much energy after a whole day in school? Wait, what?
No clue. No clue.
Where does it come from?
I have no clue. It's so funny. Yet they have so much energy, but it's funny. I'll tell you a story. He was doing it recently at a hockey practice, and these kids are all mites, so they're all 7 years old, and 6 and 7 years old on the ice. And I was talking to a couple of their dads, and I'm watching the drill kind of out of the corner of my eye, and I see these kids ripping down. They're doing a circle drill. So they're starting in the corner, they're hitting all the circles. Now there's a big gap between the kid who just went and they just stopped. I'm like, what happened? I look over and there's my son staring up at the corner of the roof. I don't know what he was looking at or what he was, but it's like, buddy, you got to focus a little bit, right? They can't focus.
There's probably a pigeon up there or something.
Yeah. Who knows? A metal roof. Who knows? Who absolutely knows? And I ask him after, and he has no clue, right? Like he has zero clue. James, what are you looking at? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad. All right.
No, so buckle up because he's a mite. So my kid, Eli's 14. He's a second-year Bantam. Yeah. We get home from practice at 10:30 last night, like 10:30 on Mondays and Thursdays, late nights, right? So and by the way, you play beer league, dude. You get home, You're wired. You can't go to bed, right? Or you can't expect him to go right to bed. The kid's going to bed at 11:30 at night. He's got to get up at 6:15 to go to school the next day. It's nuts.
I don't know how they do it. And it's crazy that those times, like you're right. Like my skates are usually 10 o'clock at night. So they start at 10. And I mean, I can't fall asleep till 2:30 in the morning sometimes.
I'm so done with that.
It's hard. It's really hard.
On Wednesday night at 8:10, it was awesome. The time was awesome. The group of people were awesome. The group of guys were great. The skate was great. We haven't skated because of COVID. Yeah. I wrapped up last winter's season and I folded my jersey and socks up and retired from the competitive league after we won the cup. I should have a picture. I'll post a picture in the comments of this, but I'll post a picture of me holding the cup. And I haven't skated since, but it was like I was like I had rollerblades on the ice surface out there. Freaking
that first skate is hands down the worst thing in the whole world. I just had one Sunday night. First skate I had is since June. And it was horrible.
I'm going to come up there and I'm going to come play pickup one night with you.
Oh, be awesome if you came up.
Can you get me out there?
Yeah, 100%. We're always looking for it. We had 6 guys aside. It was horrible. I fanned on a wrist shot. Who fans on a wrist shot?
Did you fall
literally, like,
anything?
no, I mean, I was tripping over the blue line at one point. Like it
I made
was
a move
ugly.
on this goalie. It was so damn good. I faked myself out and I forgot to go backhand. I freaking just skated into the boards
Oh.
behind the net.
Hey, do you have those things with the system called Live Barn where
Oh yeah, we
you
got
are
live
then?
on all over the place.
So I'm at my brother-in-law's and he's got 3 boys, all hockey players. They're awesome too. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to see? We have a few games. You want to see them play?" And he was showing me the Live Barn. You can pick the date and the time and the date, and it
Yeah,
shows the game. And he's like, "Wait a minute, didn't you skate on Sunday night?" And I'm
zoomed
like,
right into
"Yeah."
there.
And he's like, "Oh, let's look at it." And I'm like, "No, no, don't look at it," because I knew it was bad. So he pulls it up. I mean, it's horrible seeing it on film. But he's like, my brother-in-law looks. He's like, "Oh my god, look at that guy leaning over the bench." And I'm like, "That's me." I'm like, "Stop, change it. That's me." It was me. It was me. I'm like, I am so out of shape. It's ridiculous. Yeah,
Dude,
yeah, yeah.
not to talk about youth hockey, not this the breadth of fresh careers and about youth
Yeah,
sports and crazy ass coaches
yeah.
and parents like us, but dude, I just spent a G note on a pair of skates for my kid.
To do it, it's ridiculous. It's
Crazy.
crazy. And you know what the worst is? They grow so fast. So you feel like you're buying. Like I just bought Jameson all new equipment. It's like next year he's gonna grow. Gonna have to spend that same money
Yeah, from
every
what
year over year.
I got it pegged. He's
Yeah,
my size now. So at the end of the season, I'm getting a
crazy.
fat ass pair of freaking Power Vapors.
Oh, so it's a win-win for you.
Mine
So
are
it's
like
more of
6 years old. Like they're done. You
yeah,
know, they're done.
yeah. How much he's at the age? He's at the age he probably beats his equipment too right now. I'm
Dude, they're
guessing.
destroyed. The skates
Yeah,
are. I said when, but I
yeah.
can't say Kaner keep him neat. Like I just want him to go play and have fun. Like I don't want him worrying about his freaking
No,
skate and whether or
no.
not chopped up and stuff. But dude, I got the wheel at the house, man. I got a custom radius Massachusetts company, no, New Hampshire based company, I think. But
Yeah.
I sharpened the skates and I was looking at them already. I'm like, holy crap. I went on the ice 2 weeks ago with his team. They were one of the coaches couldn't make it, and the other coach, because I help out with skills. So they just say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm all USA hockey certified and what
Right.
safe sport certified and all this sick
Right.
what these crazy people do.
Right.
And I went on the ice, dude. These guys, these kids are like, they're men, dude. The power. I was like, you got to understand that I stopped coaching my kid at the end of the squirt season. So he's had
so he was
2
little.
years of Pee-wees, 2 years of Bantams.
Yeah. Okay.
And the progress, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's nuts. And the skills these kids have, stick handling, like flipping it up over your stick, cutting it back on. You're like, what the hell?
It wasn't like that when we played. I feel like now it's like these kids are so much more
I had a
skilled.
Sherwood 40-30 featherlight or where the hell it was, man. Just ripping shots off the crossbar. That was
remember those things? Remember the big wooden sticks? Remember back in the day, it's like I was happy to miss the net, hit the glass because I liked the way it sounded. Zero. Nobody ever told me like shoot at the net. I'm like, no, I just wanted to go as high as I could. I want that noise against the glass. Like how effective is that?
Big redwood.
Yeah.
Yo, you recently made a change, right? You made a change. Now you're the head of talent acquisition for Americas at Contentsquare. What prompted you to move, man?
Yeah, so we built so much at my last company, right? Like we showed up there in 2016, and there was no processes put in place. There was no systems. They were working on an Excel spreadsheet. There was the hiring velocity was through the roof. They were in hyper growth mode at the time. We're talking about hiring just in sales, 40 salespeople a quarter. Then obviously the ops and all the other positions kind of coincide with the sales hiring, and it was fun, right? So for 3 years, we really built everything, and we built it at a global level, which was really cool. And now here, I got to a point, after 5 years, where it was more about maintenance, right? So it was more about maintenance. It was less about building and more about maintaining and tweaking. And then for me personally, I like to build, I like to implement, I like to be someone that comes in and can change things, provide different ideas, and really be able to expand with the business that's trying to grow and go somewhere. So this role came across my desk and kind of fell into my lap, where someone called me and said, hey, I have check out this opportunity. It's building from scratch. Like there's nothing. I mean, you got to build the TA team, you got to build all the processes, work with the business. We have no systems in place. We're implementing Workday. So really it has the same feel as my last company. And that's really more what attracts me to specific roles, right? Like I like to build. Just the maintaining and whatnot becomes redundant and a little boring for me personally.
Yeah. So you came from a larger, I mean, the company you work for was $1 billion publicly traded company.
Yeah.
You're working for, a company that is probably considered much more of a startup. Like, I know you're brand new over there, but like, how's that transition been?
It's been good. I mean, definitely in a little bit of an adjustment phase. I mean, I think I have to get used to the fact that decisions are a lot easier. I can make them a lot easier, a lot quicker. I have a lot more ambiguity to do my job. Where, from where I came from with all the red tape, just being publicly traded and having all these processes and levels and layers of people there, it made it difficult. Here, it's not. And the expectation is, since you don't need that, things need to happen really quick. So I think just the adjustment of the pace, which is good, right? Like being new, I got a good taste of it. Got to meet everybody at the company, all the way from the CEO all the way down. And you could see it's that the level of accountability they hold you being a startup feel is much different. I think that's probably the biggest adjustment to make. But it's great. I mean, if you like a little bit of chaos, it's a good environment, which that's right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
The more chaos can happen.
Chaos, baby.
Yeah,
chaos on the front line, right?
Yeah.
So Contentsquare is all about helping to create better digital experiences and optimize websites and web traffic.
Yeah.
How much do you need to truly understand kind of like what your company does to be a successful head of talent acquisition?
Yeah, you got to know. You got to be able to talk the talk. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be able to understand, because with the area that Contentsquare is in, they're basically, to put it in basic terms, UX analytics. So it's all about the user experience, right? So if you look at where we are in terms of like competition, we're kind of in this gray area, right? So you have Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics on one side, right? And they'll look at UI, they'll look at UX, and they'll look at why you're losing customers, right? And then on the other end, you'll have some smaller companies that they don't really dive into more UI analytics. And then you have this gray area where it's the UX analytics where we fall, and really to analyze not the why you're losing companies, but what and the how you're losing customers, and providing that data in lightning speeds back to our customers, so they can make adjustments on the fly in terms of how their how user friendly is. Yeah, their marketing, how their platforms work and whatnot. So that's really cool. I think to understand that and to having to know that is important, because immediately people think Google Analytics. It's like, no, we don't work with Google Analytics. Like, we'll partner with them, but we don't compete with them. We're kind of in a different space. So it is important to understand what our product is, what we do, where we sit in the market. Yeah, and I mean, the company growth has been crazy. I mean, we've acquired 6 or 7 companies, in the past few years. Yeah, we just got through our final phase of funding, which is great. We had a new acquisition real recently called Hotjar, and that's working out real well for us. So the expansion is there. Hotjar.
Hotjar.
Hotjar, yeah,
like
HOTJAR. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's
a hot jar of chocolate syrup for ice cream.
Yeah. Something that'll melt the ice cream. So we want that hot. By the way, that's unbelievable. Ice cream.
Put it in the microwave for like a minute, and the thing you just dump it on there.
I'm a caramel guy though. I like the caramel on it, not the
really?
chocolate. Yeah.
I don't do ice cream. I don't do ice cream, but I can
dairy.
Dude, it's rough on me. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's funny, like the hard cheeses and stuff like that are fine. I could drink a cup of milk, no problem. But like
the ice cream stuff. Yeah. But I feel like it does the same thing for me. I just power through it though, buddy. Look at me. I don't know. You can tell by my physique. I'll just take it down. I'll deal with the consequences after.
Dude, how'd you get your start in talent acquisition? I mean, you've got such a lively personality, how'd you get your start?
Yeah.
Your start? Yeah, you were an investment banker, investment manager out of college, right?
Yeah. So kind of. So I after school, I sold racehorses, thoroughbred racehorses. So the horses that race in the Derby.
How the heck don't I know this about you?
Yeah, it's because it's a long time ago, buddy.
You sold racehorses? You were a livestock sales guy. So
Yeah, similar. So basically, the company I worked for,
You're a
Centennial.
horse broker.
Yeah, almost. So what they would do is Centennial Farms, they're still around. They had a horse race in the Derby a handful of years ago, Reverberate. So what they would do is they would buy a handful of let's call it 4 or 5. We'll call it 5 yearlings, right? So horses, they go to the auctions down in Keeneland in Kentucky, buy 5 horses for $1 million a piece. Let's just call it that. They'd come back, they'd create an LLC for those horses. Then the Don Little, who owned the company, he would say, hey, I'm going to syndicate this partnership into a number of units. So those units would vary depending on what he wanted. So he might say, hey, it's $50,000 a unit, and you have to sell, however many units it is until you can raise that $5 million. Or he may say, hey, I'm doing 5 units at $1 million a piece. Go out and get people to invest. So at the time, George Bush had put in the tax depreciation bonus, that extra tax depreciation bonus for a first year of buying any sort of machinery like construction equipment. Horses fall in that category, believe it or not, because they depreciate. So you're able to, it was a huge tax write-off. These guys could write off like $250,000 in the first year of their investment. So we were getting, it was crazy. We were getting money pouring in. And so basically from those 5 horses, you work together as a group of people, the investors, you name the horse. The only thing that we provide the trainer, the veterinarian, the silks, the colors, and we choose the jockeys, right? Outside of that, everything else that goes in the horse, it's like a board of directors. They make all the other decisions because you're basically a horse owner if you invest in the company. And we hope out of those 5 horses, one makes it to the Derby or makes it to, hopefully we try to earn some money. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a tough sell, because if someone were to ask you, if you're not in the business, they'll ask you, what's the ROI? You have a better chance. Honestly, you have a better chance of hitting $7 million on a scratch ticket than you have a horse win a Derby. Yeah. But it's more about the lifestyle, right? Like we got a lot of people like you. There was a lot of people that owned staffing agencies or recruitment agencies that would actually want to be part of it. Like we had Dennis Dermerman and Jack Welch in our partnership. We had guys like Eli Manning and Strahan and those guys. You had athletes. You also had real owners of businesses that were in our partnership. So these guys that could actually network with them. We had a house in Saratoga out there. Wow. So all the clients would come and go out of Saratoga. So we'd be up there all the time. It was really, really cool. We had a farm in Williamsburg, Virginia. So we had our horses get laid up and they needed to rehab. They go down to Williamsburg, Virginia. We have Bill Mott, who's a trainer and right now, he's a hot trainer right now for the thoroughbreds. He was the trainer at the time, best vet on that you could get.
Dude, that's an amazing. So you're a horse broker. You're a horse trader.
But a horseman. I like to consider. I'm not a handicapper.
You'd go out and you'd sell the investment on the horse.
Exactly. Yep. So I'd go raise the capital. So when back in 2007, I got out of that business. They were kind of shifting in terms of where they wanted to focus their business, which was down in Kentucky. For me, I had no choice, no desire to move there. So I need to find a new job. And someone said, what about recruiting? And I said, well, recruiters, didn't they just sit in a room, smoke cigarettes and call people? And they were like, no, you can actually make some money. And I'm like,
Wolf of Wall Street, man.
Yeah, they were like, what kind of money? And I'm like, I said, what kind of money? Like, no, you could do really well. So I'm like, all right. So they hooked me up with an interview with Winter Wyman at the time. And, Winter Wyman, I started talking to them and I'm like, oh my God, this is, so you're telling me I can talk on the phone all day. I can talk all day and I'm not going to get in trouble. And they're like, no, that's what we want you to be on the phone. I'm like, this can't be true. So you're telling me if I show up day one, I just pick up the phone, just call people about jobs. And they were like, yeah, that's something that, that's something that you can do. And if you work hard, you can make money. And I'm like, how much money? They're like, well, really good. You can make $100,000, over $100,000. Now, mind you, I'm young, right, at the time. So I signed me up. So that's how I got into it. I joined them, and right off the bat, it was right before the 2008 crash of Lehman Brothers. Oh, and the market was insane. And I think it might've been week 2 or 3 into the business. I placed a candidate. I still remember his name at this company called On Deck Capital. He's a controller. And I placed him. It was my client and it was my candidate. And I placed him for like, I don't know, close to $400,000 on a base. And I'm like, this is the easiest job ever. I'm like, I'm going to be rich. I'm going to retire in 2 years. That's how easy it is. Like, how are people not rich doing this job? Then Lehman Brothers crashed. Then there was a harsh reality. I went back to my $40,000 draw. Could barely fill my gas tank up.
Yeah,
that was a tough road to go. Yeah, so that's how I got in it. That's how I got into recruitment, and then went to a different agency with a couple of guys who, their thing is building staffing firms and then selling them. So I joined up with them. Was kind of led up their direct hire team, and when they left, when they left after their earnout period, they were going to go start a new business, and they asked me to come along with them to help them out again with the direct hire. So one of my clients at the time, TD Bank, they had an opening and I needed to break a non-compete. I had an 18-month non-compete, and I joined them. And once I got in-house, I liked it. It was a different feel. At the end of the day, it was an element of talent acquisition that I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
And I wanted to make a run at it, and I wanted to try to become an expert and really hone my skills. That way, who knows what the future holds. If I ever jump back in, I know I understand both sides now. And, I think,
Yeah, they are very different, man. They're very different. And
so different, Justin. So different.
yeah, it really
So different.
Just the process, the technologies that are used, the steps in the process, etc. What do you got? The kids home from school?
Yeah,
Tell them you're on a podcast.
They come running through the house. They come barreling through the house. Oh yeah. Then my wife ends up yelling at them and whatnot. So it's,
well, tell them they're gonna be famous now. They're they're in the background on a Breath of Fresh career.
They are. I'm hoping this thing goes viral, buddy.
Yeah, well, let's hope one of your
career.
kids says something funny and it gets picked up. We'll go from there, dude. So tell the listeners about the role you play as the head of talent acquisition in the Americas. What's the day in the life?
Yeah. That's a good question. It's a pretty healthy balance. I mean, I obviously I got my team that I have reporting into me right now. I have 8 people that report directly into me currently. In the process of hiring a couple more. We also have, that's just recruiters. Then we have, I think we have 11 or 12 sourcers as well too. And so it's a pretty big, good size organization. From a day-to-day standpoint, obviously a priority for me is developing my people, right? Like at the end of the day, making sure that they're good, they have everything they need. For me, support and guiding them is actually my number one thing. Their success is my success, right? So at the end of the day, if they can kill it, I kill it, right? At the end, ultimately, lot dealing with escalations problems. Like for me, I think it's always trying to figure out solutions. And, my motto every single day is how can I be better today compared to tomorrow, right? So I try to build off yesterday all the time. So yesterday's in the past, can't change it, but what can I do better every single day? So I think a lot of my day in the life of it is really trying to figure out, what went on yesterday and what can I correct today, in building those relationships and cultivating those relationships with the business, which is really most important, right? It's a balancing act. You got to manage up and you got to manage down.
Would you say, so the whole balancing act, would you say that that's one of the hardest things that you have to do? Or like, yeah. I like to ask this question, like, what's the hardest thing that you need to accomplish, as the head of talent acquisition? Is it finding people? Is it, walk us through that.
Yeah. I would say the most challenging part. No, I wouldn't say it would be the recruitment. I think it's trying to keep everybody, it's trying to understand everyone that you work with and making sure that you understand what motivates them in order to bring everyone together and work together in a cohesive way to actually accomplish the ultimate goal, whether that be a hire, whether that be an organization build out, or whatever that may be. That's probably the most challenging. That would be the most challenging part. Sorry if you can hear what's going on in my house.
I got them loud and clear. It's picking up.
Yeah. So that would be the most challenging part is really, it's really trying to bring a bunch of relationships together and making them work.
Wow. Okay. Let's talk. This is a breath of fresh air, right, man? So we started this back when COVID hit, because there were so many people that were reaching out and needed jobs and they needed help. And their brother lost their job, God forbid, or their father or somebody,
Right.
And it's about sharing knowledge. It's about the transfer of knowledge. Let's talk about some of the.
He's having a little moment right now.
You have patience. I don't know how you have the patience you have.
We're live. It wouldn't be like this. I wouldn't be this kind. We're live right now, so we're trying to hold.
Absolutely live, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So some of the key characteristics you look for or your team looks for when you're interviewing candidates? Like,
Yeah.
What makes somebody stand out?
Yep. That's a great question. Leadership qualities, right?
Okay.
So not necessarily leading people, Justin, but when you look at someone, whether you're an individual contributor, junior person, or all the way right up through C-level folks, that to have someone that has strong leadership qualities, those are the people that elevate everybody else around them, right? So it's not about giving someone direction, telling them what they have to do based on the experiences that you know, but somebody that really that has the characteristics around them that people want to follow them, people go to them. Those folks are the ones that are going to be your top performers. Now, if you have a team of those folks, they also typically understand how a team works, right? So it's less about, they're usually competitive type A people, but they also understand that, from a success standpoint, as a group, you have a pod of sellers, right? Let's say, for example, right, you have a bunch of people with leadership qualities. That group of sellers, maybe it's enterprise sellers, right? That one pod, you have all type leadership qualities. Those folks are usually the top performers. Those are the ones that are getting it done, for the organization. It's kind of a unique quality, right? You probably don't hear that too much when people ask you that. But those are the folks that they're ambitious. They want to do the right thing.
Jeff, is that something you can see in their profile, or is that something when you talk to them?
No, profile's a little bit different, right? That's more about when you talk to them, right? Like if I'm generally looking at a profile, though, for me, that's something that once you start talking, you can draw out examples, right? Like really asking them more behavioral type of questions in terms of, you can draw how they lead, what their leadership qualities are. But in terms of, you tell me, what does a good profile look like? For me, I like to see steady progression, based on experience, right? Yeah. And I really feel like if you look at somebody that has 10 years experience, and they should have progressed in a certain way, throughout their career to get to a certain point, and it should match what their experience is, right? You have someone that's 25 years experience, you hope that maybe if you're looking for a leader, right? If you're looking for a leader, they've progressed the right way, in certain increments throughout their career. So I think progression is good. It's tough to look. I know you hear a lot about like job hoppers, right? Like people hop jobs. That's a real tough one to put a finger on, because if someone's been a startup guy his whole career, there could be a lot of moves. There's people that do move because they're in a flat organization and they do want to grow. So that's sometimes a little unfair. As long as they can talk through it and you can uncover that, I don't really hold too much weight on, if someone's a job hopper, if they can talk through it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's a crazy market right now, candidate driven marketplace, very, very competitive. What are you seeing in the industry?
Yeah, it's crazy right now. It's bananas right now. People are making a lot of money. I think that people are moving at lightning speeds. So when you talk about even moving from company to company, right? I mean, the processes are really fast. Companies are making
needs to be. You can't sit there and think today. It's no.
Exactly. You really can. And right now we're seeing it's a candidate's market right now, right? They're kind of driving the market right now, where, if you look at where I came from, there was a point where candidates would sell us why they should work here. It's not like that anymore. You're starting to see a shift now where companies, we have to sell them. Even if you are the Googles of the world or the Facebooks of the world, you're still having to sell these candidates, because right now, these people could have 4 or 5 different options they could be making more money somewhere else and have that offer in hand. So that's what we're seeing right now. I mean, it makes it challenging from a recruitment and hiring standpoint, but it's good time to be a candidate right now.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You recently made this change. Are you working on any other projects out there? Special private projects?
Yeah, I am. I'm advising. I'm advising a couple startups right now, which is really cool. One's a fintech startup. They're really it's actually a really incredible mission, and I think that a lot of people across the country have been impacted by what they're trying to solve. So really, at the end of the day, they're trying to end the student debt crisis. So they're doing that by educating people and providing them with like comprehensive insights. So these families can make well-informed college borrowing decisions, because right now it's not, and it's a problem.
Totally not.
So yeah, exactly. So it's right here, like that's the first step in fixing really the broken and backward system that we have right now. The company's called College Aid Pro. Right now they're rolling out their platform, which is called MyCap. It's in the next few weeks. And really, so it is really directed so families, they can benefit from like together this organization. It's pretty wild. 50 years of experience total. Like they have some people that have been really invested within college funding. And it's a really interesting platform, and they're going to take off. There's zero competition. This fintech company, I mean, the platform, the technology they have, they're putting in place is amazing. I help them and advise them because they've already gone through their first phase of funding. They've gotten a ton of investment as well too. Right now, they're at this point really hiring now. So really, I'm helping them kind of navigate through the world of hiring, how to move things along faster, how to do it. I mean, think about it. They're a 12 person there. Their partners is 12 partners. Now they're connected to advisors across the country, but those 12 partners, they have no clue. A lot of them, they've never hired before. They know nothing. So for me, they come and I advise them on certain strategies to help them out, help implement the different processes, so they're not going to get bogged down with actually interviewing because they don't know. I've really had to coach them along the way on how to interview, how to find the right people and so forth. So it's pretty cool. The other project I'm working on similar to that is with a healthcare technology company. They're out in the western part of Massachusetts. Similar, they're a little bit bigger. They're about $25 million company, but again, they're hiring. They're in the process of being purchased by a private equity company. So they have a number on their head in terms of the revenue targets, and they've been told that they need to hire really quick. So I'm helping advise them a little bit on how to move things along from a hiring perspective.
Got it. Man, you've been doing this for, let's just call it 20 years. You've been at it for 20 years. What advice can you give to our listeners, man? Work, life, entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Honestly, it's simple, man. And I know that you and I have talked about it a little bit in the past, and I actually wrote a few things down in preparation for this call, and not knowing that we were going to go this direction. But for me, it was I kind of I wanted to reflect back on my life and some of the things that I've done. And I'm not perfect by any means, and I don't have all the answers, but I have a pretty straightforward mentality on things. And I know you do too, because you and I, me, when I was having a bad day, I'll call you and I'll unload on you, and vice versa. So, for me, some of the listeners, I'd say, don't coast through life doing what everyone else does, just following the lead, right? Like, stop thinking of risk as this thing that's bad, and start seeing it as an opportunity to do things that other people won't do. Like knowing that ultimately that path, that's going to reshape your entire existence. And that'll make you an absolute weapon in whatever you do, where other people, they're going to be in the same mental space with the same skills 10 years from now. That's a fact. And that means like 10 years from now, you'll be so much more effective than everybody else around you, that you'll be indispensable to whoever you work with, whatever product you're pushing, whatever you are. And you and I have talked about it, like when you become indispensable, they can't live without you. You remember that because you told me a really good story. And that's true. And I think that when you shared with me that amazing story, that hit home, because I've never in my life have ever viewed risk as something scary. I view it as, I can bet on myself and I will win all the time. And I may not. And I have failed, right? Like 100%. It's
good to fail.
That's how you learn. But when you start, we live in a society where, people are afraid of it and they just kind of follow everybody else because that's what you think you should be doing. In reality, don't do it. That would be my advice. Do your thing, do what you love to do, and give it your all, and start looking at this as opportunities to really better yourself. And like I said, your entire existence, Kaner, can absolutely change. Like I said, you'll be a weapon, like whoever it is, especially some of these young folks that are looking to make a change. Go for it. Like at the end of the day, because you know what's going to happen. You'll regret it. Like you'll look back and be like, man, I wish I'd done this.
You know what? Everything that you're saying, I keep going back, like, dude, and I'm not trying to downplay this at all or make light of it, but it's absolutely 100% true what you're saying. And Nike built a brand around it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Think about that. That simple tagline. Nike built a brand after. And guess what? There's no other sneaker brand out there. Like none. Zero. And have you seen some of their sneakers are crazy?
They're unbelievable. Everything. Their product, even their clothing product, their lines. I mean, think about it, you climb a mountain one step at a time. That's what you do. You know what I mean? And you know that, when you take those risks, it's one step at a time, and you got to get there, and there's never a right time. Right? Like, think about it. Like, you hear that excuse all the time. Like, it's not, I want to start my own business. Not the right time. I get kids, or, my wife wants to have a baby. It's not the right time. It's never the right time for any, that's an excuse that anybody can use. And it's like, don't worry about that. Like, roll the dice, like,
I
get
was
after
just
it.
talking to a new potential client company about an existing salesperson they have.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to know this guy's a great guy, really great guy, really good, super connected in like marketing, marketers, like came up in the industry, the whole deal. And I called it out. I said, I know this guy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, how's he doing? And the guy said, you know what, dude, I know he's got it in there. I know he's got all the knowledge, but he's waiting. Like, he's waiting. And I think that he's probably waiting because he doesn't want to mess the pitch up on Nike as a huge brand, as an example, right? Because this is a B2B sales deal, right? But like, you got to just jump in, dude. I live the life of like, you're sinking or swimming, bro. So you might as well swim. You just go. You're gonna learn real quick. You can
100%. And Justin, if everybody had that mentality, everybody would prosper and everybody would succeed, right? And that's when you're in a world that's awesome, right? Like, when I'm the biggest rooter ever. Like, I want everyone to be successful. I don't care if it's their career's more successful than mine, they make more money than me, it doesn't matter. Like, I to see everybody prosper, the world is a better place that way. And that's the mentality. When people wait, they're waiting around, and who knows what it is, right? It's only them. They can look in the mirror and figure out, hey, that's who you got to hold accountable, is looking in the mirror. But I think we're polluted by a lot of outside noise, right? With social media, with everything else.
Negativity, dude. Yeah.
Tons of negativity, right? Like, if you're positive, and not saying that positivity makes you successful, but you're positive and you do what you like, and again, hone your skill. Like, make sure your skill that you choose to do, it, and be better than everybody else.
I call it your craft. Yeah.
Your craft. It's that. Yeah. That's what it is. And I know it's not rocket science, right? Like, people will sit here and say it, but it's the truth. You get that skill and you become a weapon that people can't live without. You made it that way. Like I said, the pool story, that seriously hit home.
Pool cleaning guy.
Like, it really did. Yeah. That story is incredible.
Dude, that's the guy who started God, I'm probably gonna butcher this. I can't remember if it was like
the mud runs. Wasn't the mud runs or something like that?
No, it was something. What are some of those? What are some of those freaking races? Yeah,
it's like the mud or the warrior race. It wasn't the warrior one.
Yeah, it was. These, it's not mud, dude. These guys are jumping through fire and shit like that.
Yeah. What's it called though?
It's called Spartan Race.
Spartan Race. That's what it is.
This guy is so amazing. I can't remember where I read this or heard it or something like that. But this guy was a young New Yorker, young kid. He grew up, his mom was a hippie. And somehow he got like introduced to this guy, really well-to-do guy in New York, in like, Brooklyn or something like that. And the guy was actually the freaking head of the mob. The guy turned out to be like the head of the mob. And he asked this guy, who's the head of the Spartan Race. And by the way, I forget the guy's name again. And it's bad, but this is years and years ago that I heard this. This guy wanted him to clean his pool. And he straight up told him, he sat him down and he said, all right, you're going to come clean my pool. Freaking head of the mob. Hello. Like, you're sitting down. So you're going to come clean my pool. But when you come clean my pool, bud, you're going to you see garbage around, pick it up, tidy up the chairs. You see windows that need cleaning, do. My car's dirty outside. Well, go wash it. And the kid's like, what? Like, what do you mean? And he said, you got to create an image of yourself that these people can't live without.
Right.
Because then if you create that, you're never going to have to ask them about money ever, because they're going to want to pay you every time. These people are going to want to pay. A couple of years go by, this guy's got like a fleet of pool trucks. He's cleaning pools. He's walking into houses. He's eating, dinner with, mob bosses and stuff like that. It's crazy stuff. It's just, but guess what? This kid was probably scared shitless about starting this little venture, but he jumped in and he did it, you know, and now he's running all the Spartan Race, you know, it's pretty cool. It's just, I can't remember all the logistics about it, but man, it was an awesome story. It was awesome.
Because it's true. Think about it. Even for these young professionals, like if there's listeners here that are young and they're trying to figure out their career. I mean, even at my level, Justin, or your level, or even someone that's the chief HR officer, literally think about it. If you make yourself indispensable at an organization, you never have to ask for a raise. You never have to ask for more money. You never have to ask for anything because you're doing more than most of the people there are doing. And that's a fact. And that's what separates you from everybody else. So I know when I look at my team in terms of like who, when it's year-end review, right? Like let's look at my team, who promotions are up, who am I going to pick? It's going to be the person who actually, you know, went above and beyond without asking. And I'm not asking someone to work 80 hours a week when everyone else is working 45 or 50, right? Like that's not the case, just to work, but to making yourself to bring that type of value. And it's not a hard thing to figure out either, right? Think about it, right? You can kind of look around. If you're sitting in on a TA team and you're an individual contributor recruiter, 3 years in the business, you look around and be like, okay, what can I do differently than everybody else? What can I do that's over and above to make my value show or shine? It's an easy thing, and not a lot of young people do it, and it's a lot of work, right? And you know, I think that you make yourself vulnerable because, you know, when you're doing that, you make a mistake on something, you know, that mistake's going to sting. But again, you know, at the end of the day, the way you will navigate through your career, you take those risks, right? You take those, be that indispensable weapon that a company can't live without. Next thing you know,
how many times in your life have you knocked a beehive out of a tree?
Oh my God, a lot.
Probably once, right?
No, a couple times actually. I got owned in a shed, my grandmother's shed. I knocked it out, owned by one. I couldn't get out of the shed. I got beat out. I got beat up. Wasps. Yeah. Twice. It was twice actually. So 2 times. Yeah.
I only did it one time because I learned real quick. Don't do that again.
Yeah, you'll learn. You learn, but you gotta learn. Like, you know, you'll never get fired for making a mistake in roles. Like if you're trying something, right? You get, you know, someone will correct you and you get back on the horse and go. And, you know, you have thick skin about it and realize, you know, work, it's business. But, you know, trust me, those leaders behind closed doors will be like, did you see what Kane did? Like, what a ridiculous mistake, but that was awesome. He tried it, right? Like at the end of the day, they always will.
Running across the yard getting chased by 40
yeah.
You made my day.
To your face, you know, they'll you have a stern talking to you, but behind closed doors, like that was awesome. That was unbelievable. I can't believe he actually did. He tried it, right? At the end of the day. So yeah.
You know, I love this. I mean, we could sit here and talk all day. You know, one of the questions that I ask everybody is, and I love to ask this question, is there anything I should have asked you on today's podcast episode that I didn't ask you?
Yeah. What do I do for fun?
What do you do for fun? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. A lot of things. I golf terribly, but I golf. Horrible. No, not bad. I told you, I thought at one point 2 summers ago, I thought that I was legitimately going to make a run for the PGA Tour. I was going to quit my job, and I thought I could be, So I went on first time golfing. It was like, you know, late spring, and I golfed 9 holes. Easiest course you could ever imagine. Like, it's a joke, right? It really is. I shot like 4 over. From that point, but by the way, Kaner, you would shoot under par in this place, right? So it's not that much. But for me personally, confidence sky high. I mean, I'm this high to the point where I'm telling people now, like, I figured it out. Like, I figured out how to golf. I'm that good. Yeah, I might quit, and if I put more time into golf, then maybe I could make a run and try to make some money playing golf. Like, that's how good I am right now. And people are like, yeah, right. And I'm like, no, for real. So my old bosses call me and they're like, hey, you want to golf? Andover Country Club. I'm like, do I want to golf? Like, I'm not only going to golf, I'm going to mop everybody up. Like, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm so good. I figured it out. Something happened in this off season. I didn't even golf, but I picked up the clubs and now it's clicking. So I go there. So 4 over. So I go over there. I go there. I'm warming up on the range, and I am absolutely hitting laser beams, right? And like, that's how the confidence. Yep. So now I'm starting to like talk shit a little bit to these guys, right? Like how good I am. So we get to the first tee, And I'm starting to give advice. I think I'm so good about like, hey, your grip's off, like your swing's a little off. And they're like, dude, get this guy out of here. And I'm like, no, seriously, like your backswing doesn't look right. Your feet, your hips, you're swaying. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I'm this good. So I'm talking first hole, birdie it, right? So now I'm even more annoying to the point where they're like my old boss, like, you got to stop. Like, we have a client here and you're giving him advice and this guy's a scratch golfer. I'm like, have you seen me? Right. We're going to the second hole. And I'm like, I'm this good. Again, offering advice. I'm walking around like I'm Tiger Woods. I get up there from holes 2 to 18. I may have shot a 150. I lost like 20 balls. You want to talk about a humbling experience? They didn't invite me back for like a month and a half.
The golf gods.
Yeah. So that was over. I build furniture though, Justin. That's another thing I do for fun. Yeah. A lot of dining room table, our stools. I build everything. Yeah, that's something I do for fun. Yeah, my dad was a carpenter, so he kind of passed along.
Built your dining room table?
Yeah, I'll do dining room. I do dining room table. I did 2 for my neighbors. I do coffee tables, bars, like bar stools.
Awesome, yeah. Buddy. So your dad was a carpenter. So you're carrying that on.
Yeah. I wish my kid would. He gives me 30 seconds. Like, hey, listen, this is how you want to stain something, you want to paint something. He gives it a little go.
He's a mite, dude. He's only supposed to 30 seconds is a win.
My expectations are high, Keener. They're high. Yeah, they're real high for him, right?
I know.
I don't know. I got to set him up for success. I think I have to bring the expectations down, right?
Let him try everything.
Golf, boat. I'm a boater, fisherman, avid fisherman. So I'm out there in the water. Water's peaceful.
That's great.
We're gonna go golfing soon.
Let's do it.
I got to show you my 700 handicap.
You can tell me how I'm holding the club.
And, I'll give you all the advice up and down, all the way to your outfit. I
don't know about that, buddy.
I've seen you out there. You look good out there on the course.
Man, I got matching shoes.
Yeah, I know.
I'm all fancy pants over here. I look like freaking Freddie Couples coming out there, but I'm brutal.
Hey, what do they say? You look good, you play good, right? It's image is everything.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
You always got to be the best dressed in the room. That's a little piece of advice,
I agree with you. You can never be overdressed. You never be the worst dressed in the room, for sure.
Ever. Where is it best for listeners to hook up with you, man, to find you? You want me to include their LinkedIn profile?
Yeah. Go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is good. Yeah. Okay. I'll answer everything too. I'm good about that. So you want to, anyone wants to connect, I'll get back to you. Want to chat, I'll always find time, no matter what, for anybody. Bounce ideas off me, and vice versa. Just be careful. Once I connect with someone, I'm the guy that stays in touch with everybody forever. So I'm still in touch.
You can feel that about you. You've got such a big personality. It's awesome.
Relationships, Justin, that those are what get you through life. You build them the right way. You manage your network the right way. It's opportunities just fall on your plate a lot of times.
What do you got on the docket this weekend? Has your son started playing games yet?
Yeah. He's got 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. My daughter's playing soccer. She's doing gymnastics. Got my mother's birthday.
Is it cross ice hockey, by the way, or is it full ice?
Yeah, so they're playing. So it's cross ice.
Half ice.
Yeah, half ice. We call it technically half ice. They have these little rinks around here, so you go and it's the ages. I think the ages are like 6 through 12 typically. So it's all mites. And they play these jamboree games. So it's two 25-minute periods. So they'll play one game in the morning, have a couple hours off, come back and play another game later that afternoon. It's funny. It's a lot for the kids though. I mean, they're 7. They're gassed in the second game, and they're all just like standing around there, like,
yeah, man.
Puck's there.
I always used to say the same thing. Like, these kids at that age, they really don't care if they win or lose. They just want the ice cream afterwards, man.
That's it. Yeah. My daughter's playing soccer, so this is her, and she's an animal, Justin, an absolute animal. Yeah. We had to tell her to pipe down last week. She's the aggressive one out of the 2 of them, right? My son's a little bit more passive. I was wondering how she was going to be at soccer. She got out there. I mean, she was pushing kids over to get the ball, and she's a firecracker.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Jeff, this has been great, man. I really appreciate you on this and coming on with us here.
Yeah, buddy.
It's been a couple weeks since I put an episode out. It was crazy with August. Everybody was on vacation, and
summer stuff.
Really busy at work, and last couple weeks of summer, and it was, yeah. So I just decided to take a little hiatus from a breath of fresh career, but we're back in the
Yeah.
saddle.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Listen, I would love to be a repeat guest.
Let's do
We
it.
can. Yeah,
Let's
I love it. I love it. Listen, listen. I know this is an hour long. I could do this thing like a Joe Rogan style for like a 3-hour conversation. We could start getting in. We could start getting into a lot of stuff.
I'd need a bottle of red wine if we were going to do that.
Listen, I'm into that. A couple bottles.
The by the end of this thing, we'd be cracking up.
Yeah.
No, let's absolutely do this again. We've actually, you and
Yeah.
I have joked a little bit about putting a podcast together and
I
just
think we should.
getting,
I think we should.
getting real,
I-
you know.
Reviews. What was it? A couple ideas were reviews. We have a lot of ideas. You and I are the idea guys.
Well, let's
right?
not tell anybody on this because they might come up with it.
Yeah.
But let's do it.
Yeah, I'm into it. Listen, you're
All right.
electric. Listen, I know we could make a run at it. I told my wife, I'm like, I want to be a professional podcaster. I've never even done one before. This is my first one. So I'm like, I love it.
Just like your golf.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm saying. You could tell me. You can probably get a sniff of me right now. It's I bet on myself about everything. Like golf, I'll be a pro golfer. Podcasting, I'm gonna get rich being podcaster. Let's do it, right? Let's jump right in. So.
Oh shoot, that's great. This is
All right,
awesome.
man.
I appreciate you. Boom.
Yes, you as well
And,
too, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Look forward to it. This is an awesome podcast, though. By the way, just to give you some props, like I've listened to pretty much all of yours, and you know, it's I've learned a lot from some of the people you've had on here. So I recommend anybody that's listening go back and listen. You've had some really sharp guys on here. A lot of professionals that have some really impressive careers, and they've if you listen to them, there's been a lot of great advice here that anybody can take away. So keep it up, buddy. If if I'm worthy to come back again, would love to come back.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna get you we'll get you an on-air light that you put right on the desk. So like when the kids come in and they see it on air.
Man, so I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that was gonna happen.
Are you kidding me? We're all working from home now. We're doing the home remote thing.
Yeah, well, my wife was here. She could have controlled the situation. She was letting them go for a second.
I love that because I just learned something from you, right? I learned a lot from you on this, but I learned something from you right there because I would have just stood up and I would have given it the look, man, the look of death. And you just roll with it. You're just like, you just let it roll off you, man. I'm telling you, that gentle giant. I love it.
I'm comfort in chaos, right? Chaos is my zen. So the more chaotic things are,
right through, brother.
Yeah. I didn't want to disrupt you. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk again real soon.
Awesome. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
See you, man. Bye.
Yep.